as well as this one. We've got this particular tool as well. Hello there. Welcome. I take it you are here to be measured. Excellent. If you want to sit down and just make yourself comfortable, if I could just grab your name. Quite the variety of tools in order to thoroughly measure you. I'd like to start with some of our larger measurements. Now, I'm certain you're familiar with this. This is one of your more common measurement devices. Very large metal retractable measuring tape. So I am going to get from the floor to the top of your head here. Just keep still. Good, you just stay still for me here. Okay. Right, so right about there. Okay. Be very gentle about rolling up this one. There we are. And that's our biggest measurement. Little miniature version. Now, this one's a lot easier to work with in terms of, just hold still here, in terms of being a lot less noisy and much more suited for our smaller measurement purposes here. We're not trying to measure plywood. So, once we get our height out of the way, everything else is done with the more appropriate tools. I'd like to measure your eyes, and this is an excellent tool for that. This little screw here to loosen or tighten the slider. This little slider right here. This has a little nasal piece for your nose, and these bars are meant to go right between your iris, right in the middle of the pupil. For this one, I'll need to get a little closer. Probably need to touch you just to steady myself, if that's okay. Let's go ahead and just put this right here so that we can get the nasal piece all sorted. Okay, and I'm just going to bring this way, and then we can get this eye sorted before moving this slider. Just right there. Good. And then let's see, what about this one? Right about there. Okay. That's pretty even right there. Good. Okay. Does that feel comfortable? Okay. Good. Just get that just a little bit there. There we go. Right now. There. Okay. I just want to record this one down. This particular measuring tape is often used in medical settings, and it just has a little pull tab as well as inches and centimeters on the tape. It has the locking mechanism right here, and this one is very soft, so it's good for the face. Curves with the face. I don't need quite that much excess there. Right. Just hold still here. Good. Good. And then we can get right here. Just going to be right here. Okay. Right. And I can only hold a few measurements at a time in my mind, so we'll just do a few at a time. we can use for the face. This is called a fabric measuring tape, but it's not made of fabric, it's more for measuring fabric. This is also made out of a flexible plastic. So I like this one in particular for, let's go ahead and just switch this around. I like this in particular for circumference because it is made to easily measure that. Give myself just a little bit more slack there. There, we'll just come around here. Tell me if this is too tight at all. Okay. Right there. Okay. Good. Just get the length of your face here. About 6 inches there. Good. Bring this to forehead to the bottom of the nose here. About 4. Right. Good. So you are within average proportions of the forehead to the chin, forehead to the nose, forehead length there. Good. Good. So we have and 2 inches there. Now I'm going to do a little bit of detail work here, and I'm going to use a caliper for this. This is what it looks like, and these tips here are a touch sharp, so I'll ask that you make sure to stay still, and I'm not going to place them directly on your skin, but rather hover, and then I can take the measurements with these, and for example I can line them up to one of my tapes here. So I'm going to come in right here, and I'm just going to have you stay very still. I'm just going to adjust this a little bit. Good. It likes to come apart much easier than bringing it back together. Okay, so I'm going to very gently just push this into place make sure that it fits. Okay, now I'm take it off your skin. Okay, so what is this particular measurement here? Okay, that is just shy of 1 3/4 there. Bridge of the nose. Good. Okay. So now we're going to come into the lacrimal glands here. So again, not touching your skin here. Just going to be hovering over. And I'm going to very lightly touch your skin here. The points will not be touching. Okay, I need a little bit more. Okay, right about there. Okay. Yes, that's about right. Let's go ahead and check that here. So I like to use the 1 as a guide here. So this one we have 1 inch, and then it's not quite an eighth, so between an eighth and 3/16 there. You know what, actually I would say that's 3/16. 1 3/16. Right there. That one was just 3/4, not 1 3/4, just 3/4. This one 1 16, 3/16. Perfect. Let's see. Give myself a good amount of slack here. Okay. Okay, just go ahead and center this right about there. So if I just wrap this around like that, then we'll get, there we are, then we'll get that. And then with the eyebrows here, there, right about there, and here, good, and right in the middle of the brow there, the glabella as that's called. So we have the width of the forehead, your eyebrows, and the glabella. Let's go ahead and just bring the calipers back. I'm just going to tighten them up real quick, and then let's go ahead and bring them to the nose here. So we are going to measure this fleshy tip here. Okay, and I actually just need to bring that in a little bit. So that should just sit right inside here. There we go. Okay, so that's going to be about, so have 9/16. 5/8 there. And if we open this up a bit here, we are going to try to do both nares here. Basically the width at the base of the nose here. Just going to bring that a little bit right there. Okay. If we measure right there, so that's 1/4. Good. We are going to open this up as far as we can. And let's see, right about here. Okay, little too much. Little too much there. Let's go ahead and bring that in a bit. Okay, what about right here? And a bit more. About there. Okay. There we go. Let's go ahead and flip that over. So just hovering right here. Good. So match up with that spot. Okay. Down 3/4. So it's okay, bring this closer still, and I'm going to just come right here. And I'm going to need to bring that in a little bit more. There we are. Good, right there. And then the bottom lip here. That one we can open up just a smidge. Yeah. So we bring it in that little turn. Okay. And then open that up. Good. Good. Let's bring this one back into play. Good. Okay, so just by the ear here. Right. We just hold that there. Good. And what about right here? What about right here? Okay, those are indeed identical. Side here, mid jawline, just the same here. Is the angle the same? And what about at the side? a good angle there. Line her head. Lateral edge. So why don't we go ahead and bring out fabric measuring tape again. And then it's going to come right here. Okay, and I'm going to pull this so it's snug but not tight. Right about here. Good. And we come right here. Okay. I can have you just lift your arms up here. Just want to bring this across for the chest circumference. Okay, alright, good. Put your arms down. And then I'm just going to sneak in here and get right in here under the arm. Okay. Other side. Okay. Good. So we have a few measurements to take. To write down rather. We can get this tidied up just a little bit. Just a bit. And for our neck circumference. Chest. And each upper arm. Let me just take this, and we're going to have to open this up quite a bit. I just want to measure right here to the top of the sternum, the manubrium there, little notch. Let's see, it's going to be about like that. We're going to need a little bit more. About that. A little bit less. Let's go just like that. Okay, just hovering over. Okay. We have one. Oh, that's a round number there. Distance. Okay. Now, pull this together. And then right about here. Okay, we need a little bit more. About this. Okay, that'll work. And if we measure this here, so that's between, we have 1/4, that's 5/16 there. Bring this back together. Good, 5/16. Grab this and a little bit of measuring here. So do the bottom of the torso here. About right here from the nucleum to the side point. Okay. So we have nucleum. And then we have xiphoid fossa. Good. I think I might need a little bit more slack there. There. 2 feet there. So we did the shoulders and the chest here, so we want to do just the general width of the natural waist. Okay. Good, and then at the hip, and then we can do some circumferences. Okay. I think for that one, let's grab this measuring tape. Okay, let's give myself a good amount of slack. And I'm just going to pull this around. Okay, we're going to again hold this snug but not tight. Okay, then I'm just going to drop this right about there, and we'll get the hip circumference. Okay. Right. Hold this up a little bit. We don't need 4 feet of unrolled measuring tape at the moment. We could even just get to 2 feet. I think that would be much more reasonable. 21, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 24. So, natural waist. And hip circumference. Okay. Okay. Mind if I see your arms? Okay. Here we go. So we'll just down here. Okay. And let's just compare that on the other side. Looks good. And then the lower arms here. Yep. And then this side. Okay. So those are about the same. Upper arm length, lower arm length. Each side. Now if I could see your hands. Okay, how do we, what's the length of that? About 7 inches there. Okay, and that's from the middle finger to wrist crease. The other side, finger to wrist crease. 7 1/16 there. Okay. And the width of the hand here. Okay, about 3 3/4 there. And the same on that side. And length and width. And width, so we said 7 1/16. 3 inches there. I could just see your wrists, and we're just going to measure the circumference of them. So if I could just hold this around your wrist here. Okay. Good. The other side. So wrist. And then if we could do the lower arm at the widest point, right in here. Right there. Okay. And right here. Okay. I could just see the leg from the hip to the knee here. Actually going to need a little bit more there. About there. Okay. And then from ankle to knee. Lower leg. Now if I could just get the circumference of your thigh here. Okay. Good. And the other one. Good. Now lower leg, so the widest part at the calf here. Good. Other side. Good. Bring this back to about 24, 27, 26, 24. We have thigh circumference as well as calf circumference. I could just see your feet. We will do a length and a width here. Okay, so there's our length. Good. And the other foot here. Right there. Okay. And our width. See our width here. Okay. And width here. Good. Foot length. Foot width. Let's get the ankle circumference here. Just gonna grab a little bit more slack here just so it's easier to maneuver. Right about here. I didn't even really need half of that. Right there. Good. And what about right here? Okay. Ankle circumference. Okay, so from the ankle to the floor here, not very much. Not very much. Good. Okay, and how about our knee? How long is the knee here? Oh, from the bottom of the patella, top of the patella. Other side. Okay. Good. Alright. What about the hip joint here? So if we do the top of the crest and then right where the leg meets. Right there. Okay. I think to finish, just get a couple more measurements here. We'll do right below the nose there. Come across. Okay. As well as at the eye line. If your nose width at eye line, neck length, neck width. Let me just do a little overview and make sure that we got everything. Okay. Good. This looks good. So go ahead and take that. So, these are your measurements to keep. And all I've got to do is just make sure that my measuring tools are all cleaned up, put back in their place. We have our eye measuring tool, caliper, large retractable tape, small retractable tape, and a couple of our circular tapes, as well as our fabric tape. Okay, that all looks good. Thank you so much for allowing me to measure you with all my different tools here. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And a big thank you to my patrons on Patreon, without which these videos would not be possible. If you'd like to check out my Patreon, I have perks like early access videos, as well as a smorgasbord of Patreon exclusive